Hey, welcome to the show, everyone. My name is Janelle Villiers, and I'm really excited to have you here with me on another episode of the Other Side podcast. Mondays could be a mindful Monday, it could be a motivational Monday, but here on the Other Side podcast, we love to talk about what it's like to be on the other side of your mental health journey, your journey into introspection, and really kind of putting yourself first and what that looks like. I'm just going to move this a little bit. And so it has been my honor to come alongside of you guys during this journey that we're all on. And this is going to be another special episode because I have another guest. So the first guest went really, really well. So I'm really excited to bring on our second guest. This has been such a connection of like the universe, God, all these things coming into alignment. I am so excited to bring our guest on. So without further ado, here is Miss Iris Navarette. There she is.
Hello. Thank you for that wonderful introduction, Janelle.
You're welcome. I am super excited. It just shows a little bit, but I wanted everybody to know like all the different things that you do. You are a business consultant because you have had over 30 years in corporate America, specifically in the beauty industry, which leads to so much of your experience and your expertise in that area. But what I find the most aligning with what I talk about here on this show is that you are now not just an inspirational speaker, but you're now an author inspiring people through your story and through your learned lessons and what you call SOULutions, which I love. I love that term. I think that's excellent. And so if you haven't already gotten her book, please get her book, From Her to Eternity, where she goes over her story and the lessons that she has learned along the way, or the solutions that she has learned along the way. And so I really wanted us to talk about that. I think in our lives, we all have challenges, we all have adversity. And during those times of struggle and challenge, there's you almost wish it wasn't happening. Of course, like we're in that phase, like, why is this happening to me? Or like, I don't know if I'll ever get through it. Sometimes it's that, right? Like, will I ever get to the other side of this? And sometimes looking at it from a different perspective could actually be the thing that like helps you get through. And I think that's a lot of what has come through in your book. Sorry, I meant to show it when I said, please go get her book, From Her to Eternity. So if you could just share a little bit about how did you, like, what was the spark? What was the aha moment that made you understand, like, yes, these are solutions when you're in that place of struggle or challenge that could be helpful in terms of perspective to help people get through it?
Thank you. Janelle, you said it. That word is so powerful, perspective. And for me, really the intention of writing the book was that I do feel the world needs good stories, honest, truthful, engaging stories that really speak to how similar we are, the challenges that we go through, what can connect us. I think in the world nowadays, we need connection, and to realize that at the heart of it, we deal with the same things, we struggle with the same things. I think the aha moment for me, there's so much, because as you said, SOULutions, I've always loved words, this little play on words. And I think the aha moment for me probably started when I was a kid. My stepfather said this one quote. He would always give us these little life lessons. And one thing that he said was, you know, kid, you never know how good the captain of a ship is until the ship is going down, or it's sinking, or something perilous is about to happen. And I think at that age, I was sort of intrigued because I didn't fully understand it. I don't think I had the maturity to understand it, but I've always thought about that. And as I've gotten older, I've realized you're right. It's through adversity. And I loved what you said about perspective, because when you're on the other side, love the name of your podcast. I love that. because no one can fast forward you there. That's your spiritual gift for having undergone the adversity or the experience. You get a perspective that you would have never had any other way. And I think I love the quote, Robert Frost, the best way out is through. You have to go through. I think that's where the growth and the learning and everything that really makes it all worth it. Why are we even here? Is to come on the other side with that perspective. And I think further to that, to be able to share it.
So, okay. I love that quote. So I just wanted to put it up.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's a great quote. Right? And most people know Robert Frost through the other quote, which is taking the road less traveled. Right. But I actually love this because that doesn't mean like you skip over the difficult parts of that road less traveled.
Exactly.
Go through it. So,
I mean, do you remember being a kid going to the amusement park and there's always this little chicken exit? I remember seeing that as a kid. They would call it the chicken exit. Like you would get all the way up to the ride, but then you heard the screams and everything. So they wanted to give you an out. You could actually take this little exit, which they called the chicken exit. And I remember struggling with that. You know, it's like you hear the screams, but your heart's racing and you're excited, but you do have an out. But it made me wonder, like the people that take the out, they're always going to regret being that person that came out off that ride going, yeah, that was thrilling. That was amazing. So again, I love the metaphors. I love the analogies. But again, the best way out is through. You just got to walk through it. And I think that also gives us grace with our friends and loved ones. Not everyone's going to go through at the same pace or in the same timing. And you can't necessarily fast forward anybody out of anything they're going through, whether it's a life lesson, whether it's grief, whether it's something that is unfamiliar that they're going through. I think that quote also helps give us grace too for others.
That is actually really good. You know, I've had some friends who are in like really difficult relationships. Please let me just also share that I have been in really difficult relationships, right? So I don't want to make it seem like this has never happened to me, but like when you see it on the other side, right? And you're like, oh man, like this is just not good. Like you can end it, or you should do this, or maybe it is them, and like, hey, if you just apologize, things will get back on track, whatever it is. But they like can't see it, right? And I just got to a point where I was like, you know, Janelle, I've been through this so many times where the solution seems so easy to everyone else. The solution seems so easy to everyone else, but maybe my solution hasn't really like fully formed yet. And so it just takes me longer. And that, knowing that about myself helps with the grace giving when you see it in others and you're like, oh man, if only you would, you know, fill in the blank.
Yes.
But you give the grace because you know that they just haven't fully formed their own solution yet.
I love that. In fact, I do write about that in the book, exactly what you're saying, where sometimes things are so clear for us, right? Like I am sure with my friends, this is a two-way street as well. We have empathy, we understand what they're going through. And maybe in our minds, we're like, well, just do this or just do that. And I'm sure they've done that. They have done that for me. And thank you. But ultimately, I think it's about understanding that their solution may have a bit of a different meaning or a different purpose. So we can't always apply that same formula, if you will, to what we've gone through. So I think that's a great point.
I love that. And so that reminds me of a quote from your book. If you feel the burn, you're about to learn.
Right? Or if you feel the woe, you're about to grow. I mean, ultimately, anything that doesn't feel particularly comfortable, I mean, right, we've heard it, life begins at the end of the comfort zone. But truly, I think that's the whole thing about growth, is it comes in different forms, but there's even something I've come to learn, which is how you learn and what you go through sometimes accelerates your whole path. And I think I even quote in the book, I say sometimes even spiritually, be smarter, learn harder, because I use this analogy in the book. When you're learning to drive, let's say, and you have the option between a beautiful vehicle with all of the luxuries, or you have a junker, a jalopy that you have to learn the nuance and it's a stick shift. But if you learn on the more difficult path, now you can drive any car. Now you can look at most vehicles and get behind the vehicle and say, hey, if I can drive that, I can definitely drive most of the cars out there. So I think that is an analogy too for the amount of adversity, what you learn and how you take that with you to a broader sort of awareness of things. And I think that's kind of cool too.
Yeah, I love that analogy. It's also very visceral. Like you can feel it. You're like, oh man, this is this car. I don't know.
Well, and that way you're not limited as well, right? Too. I know when we come in contact with people and they've been through so much in their life, but they're still smiling. They're positive. They want to give. They have empathy. To me, that's aspirational to undergo a lot of difficulties, but yet come out and find that there's that sense of humanity where you still feel like you want to help and be a part of things. I think it's all about character building and how I think you take those, again, adversities and turn them into, that's what I was saying when I love that you had put that quote up, when you feel the burn you're about to learn. If we realize that anything that doesn't always feel good, there is going to be a spiritual reward. I keep going back to the word you said, the perspective. I think, our perspective ultimately defines how we are living our life, the decisions we make, and really the approach we have as we enter our own journeys in our lives and how we're bringing people along with us too.
I love that. So this brings up another quote that you said in your book.
Ooh,
it's not about the length of your life. It's about the strength of your life. And I think that is the perspective, right? Some people, it's so funny. I recently was, it's a long story, but there's this new sculpture in Boston that I am apparently going to be visiting in April, and it's called The Embrace. Ooh. And it is the embrace of Martin Luther King and Coretta Scott King. It's like, it's taken from, or it's inspired by a photo of the two of them embracing. It's like, apparently they met in Boston. Anyway, so there's this huge sculpture and it's just the arms. All you see is the arms, like the actual embrace. And I am always reminded every time Martin Luther King's like name or memory comes up that he was only 36 or something like that when he died. I mean, some people may say like Jesus was like 30 when he died, right? Like there were so many people. And I just think, I mean, full disclosure, I'm 42 and like, man, their lives were cut so short and what they were able to do in their lives. Am I doing enough in my own? It kind of like, it's like a gut check for me too. Like, how am I living my life? And so I love that quote because it is this perspective. Like, it's not the length, it's the strength. It's what are you doing with the lessons that you've learned? And so one of the things that I found, and it's like a recurring theme in the book, is how you describe that we are all connected. And essentially we are here to help each other. Like what we go through, we're meant to go through because it's to help somebody else along their journey. If you could just talk a little bit about that, like how do you gain the strength during the journey? Like a little bit about that and how it's like interconnected between all of us.
First of all, I just want to have just a quick moment of gratitude for you, just for you to appreciate that quote. That was exactly how I felt when I thought about that, because we don't know how much time we have. You just mentioned, people change the world and leave a legacy for millions and billions of people after them. And maybe they live 30 years, maybe they live 20 years. But that's where that quote is so meaningful for me, because it's mindfulness about how strong your now game is, how strong your gratitude game is. And to what you're saying, we're all the same. How are we going to bring each other and give each other strength? I feel that the world needs that now more than ever. Thank you for asking. As far as what I do, I often find that even if I'm at a stoplight or behind someone in the grocery store, I know this sounds crazy, but I always remind myself that out of 8 billion people on the planet, no one is seeing what I am seeing in the exact way I'm seeing it right now. And there's a gift in that. And I think that's what I also believe is, I have this thing called spiritual FOMO. Why do so many people, even when they live to be 80, 90, 100, they always tell you it goes by in the blink of an eye, right?
Right.
So that made me think, what are we doing or not doing that somehow in our future perspective, this is going to look like it went by in the blink of an eye? I've come to believe that is because somehow as we live our lives, we're not saturated in every moment, and even through awareness or gratitude, to fill those spaces so that the future you will say, I was there. I didn't leave anything behind. There weren't unlived moments. I was there. I felt it fully. And now I'm here. So for me, it's just, I think a lot of it is gratitude, appreciation, and just knowing that it is going to go by probably, I mean, in the blink of an eye, but even when it does, that doesn't mean it's not going to be a strong life just because it maybe wasn't a long life, or maybe it was, but the strength versus length is the name of the game in the spiritual world, I think.
Oh, that makes a ton of sense to me. And so I just want to take a moment, because I know it's just not me and Iris who are on here and who are listening. So if any of what we're saying resonates with you, please put your comments in the chat. If you have questions for Iris, please go ahead and put that in the comment section as well. I can display those so that way we can see them and Iris can answer your questions in real time. So I just wanted to make sure I made that clear so people felt like they could if they wanted to. So I know that certainly resonates with me. And I think the mindfulness of it, right? Like the gratitude, I think having a framework of gratitude is what helps kind of start you on the path of mindfulness. Like if you're in that moment recognizing, oh, okay, I'm grateful for the food in my refrigerator. I'm grateful for the bed that I sleep on. I'm grateful for the running water that like comes through my home, right? It like puts you in an immediate moment of mindfulness, and like instead of thinking about the next moment, which seems more important than the current moment you're in, right? It's you switch it and focus. No, this moment right now is the most important. And what can I do in this moment right now? To your point, to build that strength in your life. I love that. Adam, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
and
you.
Alex, thank you. Awesome.
I love what you're saying about the gratitude of what we already have. And I know it's been said, it's not about having what you want, but wanting what you already have. But it is absolutely so beautiful to think about. I do believe the opposite of more is enough. When is enough, right? When do we nestle into it's enough and I love it and I'm grateful for it? I don't need one other thing more. There's nothing external. Now, what can I cultivate internally? That's really where enough starts, I believe, is on the inside.
Well, to that end, so about your particular insides, there was a question apparently from Adam, but really from Catherine. And the question is, how do you always find a way to connect so quickly and closely with everyone you meet? Great question.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that. I truly believe I love humanity. I'm obsessed with the human experience. I believe that we are incredibly brave and courageous souls who truly want to evolve, experience, and share. And I don't know, I always feel like there's a little string from my heart to whomever is in front of me, and there's a reason for that. And I think I find grace in that. And I know sometimes it is over the top because I'm like, that sense of humanity sometimes just it gives me so much love and hope and gratitude for the people that I meet. And even it can be a short exchange, but we're two humans or we're two souls having a human experience, and we landed together in front of each other. And I don't know, maybe they're picking up on that I just, I have such a love for people and the human experience.
I know, so we're running out of time. In all honesty. So I want to make sure that we cover all the bases, and definitely want to thank you for that question. I think that question is great. Ooh, here's another question. How can we practice gratitude on a more frequent basis? Love that question.
Love that. And that's what's so wonderful is we can do that anywhere, anytime. Being at a stoplight, taking a moment to look over and say, that tree is beautiful. The way that bird is in that tree. I saw it. Thank you. I just think gratitude is just about saying thank you and having an appreciation for wherever you are, doing whatever you're doing, to solidify that I know I'm here. I know that is a gift. I appreciate it. I see it. And I think that gives our soul a little hug inside, and that emanates. So it can happen anywhere, I think.
I love that. I am I'm already forgetting the name of this book. So I read this book, and it was all about practicing gratitude for 30 days or so. Anyway, one of the practices was, it could be as simple as you wake up, and when you put your feet on the floor, one foot is thank and the other one is you.
Oh, I love that.
Thank you. Like, just thankful for being awake and alive. It could be as simple as something like that, right? It's a moment where I love that. It's so simple, but like meaningful. I also loved in that book, it challenged you to every night before you go to bed, or I shouldn't say that. You can even be while you're in bed. So before you go to sleep, just think of one thing that happened during the day that you're grateful for. So going to sleep, remembering the thing that you are grateful for, that you were happy happened that day, can be really helpful, even as you sleep, for a better sleep. And then, of course, when you wake up, if it's the first thing that you do when you wake up is the thank you, right? That also kind of like starts your day.
I love that, because it also helps to echo that you're aware of that. And I think that has a resounding gong to the universe as well, that I have the ability to feel grateful. That's powerful.
So like I said, this is like the God and universe has brought Iris and I together because we think alike in so many different ways. The connection that Olga had asked about, like, no, it was Catherine, right? How do you get connected with people so often easily? And I just think, I love what you said. It's just that you have this grace, you understand that like we are already connected even before, like, you don't have to say a word, we're already connected. And then I think your energy and your spirit from that, of course, is going to attract other people who probably feel similarly minded. And so I feel like I am the like result of that.
And I am so grateful for that as well.
And Iris thanks you as well. Sorry, Iris. Olga thanks you as well, Iris.
Thank you.
And so I'm really excited because many of you who've been following me know that I also wrote my own book, right? If you haven't read this yet, I Slept with a Married Man, Am I Still a Good Person? Please go ahead and do that. But in doing so, many people ask me like, well, how did you self-publish your own book? How did you write? What was your practice with that? Like, I'm feeling so overwhelmed and burdened by the even thought of it, but I really do want to write. It's like the secret dream of mine. Yes. And so I created a 2-day virtual book tour summit that I'm so excited to be able to, day one, share the things that I've learned along the way. We're going to be talking about the writing process, the editing process, the self-publishing process, which I think many people don't even realize like what is all involved and can be overwhelming, and even how to get on a bestseller list. who knows, right? Those people who want to be number one, you can actually do that. There's like a step-by-step process for it. And so that's day one. But here's what's really getting me excited is day two. Day two, we're going to have the book tour version of the summit where we actually have authors come on and talk about their books. We already had Ashley Major come on, and she's going to be one of our authors. And Iris is going to be our second author on the book tour.
Thank you so much.
So
pleasure.
So excited. There is a flyer there. And so if you want more information about that, you can contact myself. You can contact Iris. Let us know. You can put info in the comments so we know to reach back out to you. We're really excited to share more about our books, about our stories that we share, and also share some lessons and some tips that we've learned along the way. Because just like Iris said, what we have gone through and the lessons that we have learned, the SOULutions that we have learned, even includes this, right? Like sharing our story is one part of it. And the other part is like, well, how did we even write the story? Like, how did we do that? We're going to share that solution as well. So I'm really excited to do that and to spend more time with Iris. And you guys are going to have more access to her. It's going to be over Zoom. So everybody will have more time, like FaceTime with Iris. And so it's going to be an amazing, amazing event. Please come out and support. It's going to be amazing. And, as we close up, is there any, I feel like there's several quotes from the book that for me like mean a lot, but is there any last nugget that you feel like you really want to make sure people are left with before we leave our audience today?
I think it's a quote that I love too. And I think about adversity and how that creates brilliance. And I think it's the rub becomes the shine. Just like a diamond has to undergo heat and pressure to become brilliant and rare, as do we. And ultimately that creates the shine. So I think I'll leave everyone with that.
I love that. Couldn't agree more. Everyone, please, please, please put your hands together. Round of applause for Iris.
Janelle, such a pleasure. I am so grateful to be connected and aligned, and I'm in awe and of all of the incredible work you're doing. I feel so grateful to be a part of your journey. You being a part of my journey makes me very happy. Thank you so much.
Oh, likewise. Hold on. Well, everyone, this concludes another episode of The Other Side Podcast. If you loved what you saw here today or heard here today, please don't forget to like it. Don't forget to subscribe, because that really tells YouTube that this was actually valuable, and they'll share it with more people. It tells the algorithm, yes, this had value. So please go ahead and subscribe and like. And if you really don't want to miss an episode, go ahead and ring that notification bell as well, so that way you don't miss another episode. But until we meet again, whether it's on the virtual book tour or if it's just another Monday on the Other Side podcast, I wish you all a great, great evening, great day, and have a wonderful rest of your week. Take care, everyone.
Bye, everyone.